Here we go. What is going on, Cover One Crew? Welcome back to the show. Hope everybody's doing good. What a Monday nighter it was. Those Ravens and those Lions. If you're like me and had a couple games in the balance, David Montgomery, Monty, baby, took us over the top. Unbelievable 29-point spot. What a game it was. I'm feeling good today, man. Victory Tuesday for us. But we'll be talking today. Waiver Wire must-have players on week number 4. Season is rolling, baby, and we got to keep going with those dubs. Lots of injuries already transpiring for a lot of these players. What did I tell y'all going into draft season? Get your damn running backs, because these guys drop like flies any given time, and we either need to get their handcuffed with massive depth, or you got to have depth with how you draft. Now you're going to be scrambling for some running backs. Let's talk these running backs right off the bat, man, for week number 4. Jeremy McNichols, what I tell y'all last week, he was a must priority add for us, and he showcased exactly what he's going to do. This is going to be a split backfield. Good news for a lot of y'all, he's still on the waiver in a majority of y'all's leagues, man. 12% owned right now, and his role will continue. They thought maybe potentially it was just going to be the pass game. We've seen McNichols in the past have a role with these Washington Commanders, and you know he's going to still continue to have one. Even with the JCM, it's going to be a nice duo, nice tandem, and there will be a lot of points to be had for McNichols. Definitely a priority. While we did see James Conner go down with that season-ending horrific ankle injury, terrible news for James Conner. A lot of people, what I say already, man, weeks ago, week 1 and 2, I said, go get Trey Benson. You never know what could happen. You got to get those handcuffs. Benson's basically gone, 60% owned in majority leagues. If he's there for y'all, go for Benson. 110% as your top running back priority, but likely gone in majority of leagues. Demercado is the backup plan in Arizona behind a Trey Benson. So much like a, Jeremy McNichols in Washington, going to be very similar with somebody like a Demercado. He's going to get his touches, going to get some sprinkles, and they're going to have to utilize the split backfield at some point in this season as they continue to move forward. So he will eventually get something. So he's definitely a good bench stash right now if you're looking for running backs and are feeling the depth pinch that is right now. Rachaad White still on the board. Yes, he did not have the best game last week, but we got to see, man, ebbs and flows. Going to be up and down with Rachaad White just because of how Bucky Irving is running the football. 49% owned right now. Rachaad White is a big-time handcuff for us and still will have matchup appeal. He definitely needs to be owned as well. Ollie Gordon, my dude, even though he plays for the Fish. Okay, if they figure something out, we saw how they played the Buffalo Bills, looked a lot better. Eventually, they're going to figure it out. Ollie Gordon is too damn good. If y'all don't know what Ollie is, man, 1,700-yard back in college football. That's what Ollie Gordon is. He's a big, punishing type of running back and would be a great compliment to a Devin off the A-chain. A-chain. Right now, the Miami Dolphins offense is still stuck in first gear. That's the only issue. If they do start moving this offense a little bit more, Ollie will have a decent role. Miles Sanders, he's okay right now. We're starting to see the sprinkles. I was hoping it was going to be Jaden Blue, the blueprint, who is my dude. They're constantly putting him on the side saying, you got some growth to do, young man. Your game's just not ready for the pros just yet. So Miles doing all right, even though Javonte is the dude still. Miles is one of these guys in deeper leagues in a pinch. If you need a running back, he's getting you at least, anywhere from 6 to 9 points. At this point, you could do a lot worse at the running back spot for mass depth. Blake Corum, at this point, he is another one of these guys like a Trey Benson. If anything happens to a Kyron Williams, Corum's going to be the number 1 guy for this backfield with a Jarquez Hunter as well. So definitely Blake Corum, 28% ownership right now, 17 points on the season. He will continue to get at least his sprinkles of touches, but he's going to be definitely the running back 1 on this offense. If anything happens to a Kyron Williams, he needs to be owned 110%. Holani, for these Seattle Seahawks, depending on if Zach Charbonnet is going to come back this week. So he's only a watch player for me right now, as Kenneth Walker's still going to continue with the majority of touches, but Holani's a good running back and would have some decent role appeal if anything goes down with Kenny Walker and Charbonnet's foot injury continues to linger as well. He's definitely on my board. Devin Singletary Motors back in business only because Tyrone Tracy's going to miss time with some, I believe it's a shoulder injury for him as well. Even though Scattaboo, he's going to be the guy right now anyway. He looked good. He had over 20-plus yards, total yards in that contest versus those Kansas City Chiefs, but they're going to have a backup plan anyway. Singletary's more of a watch list player for me. It's desperation mode. If you got to go pick Singletary up, you got some issues at your running back spot. Likewise with Chris Rodriguez, McNichols already jumped him, and Rodriguez is going to be the third in command. So if anything happens to a JCM or a McNichols, then Rodriguez will likely slot in to be a guy that could be something of value for us. Kendre Miller, again, handcuff time is the biggest situation right now. Week 4 already. We got to get these handcuffs. Kendre Miller in the Saints offense does not look great, but if anything happens to Alvin Kamara, Kendre would slot into that running back 1 role on that team. Xavier Scott for these Minnesota Vikings. He also will be kind of, mix and match, even though Jordan Mason looked absolutely fabulous. Scott is a watch list player right now, but 4 weeks without an Aaron Jones. We already got 1 in the books on the IR, so 3 more weeks if you require running back, there is some ample upside for a Scott. And Tyjae Spears, he needs to be owned if you are picking up guys. 1 more week he comes off the injured reserve would definitely give a boost to this Tennessee Titans offense. Quarterback time. Sam Darnold looking good versus those Saints. They didn't really need to do a whole heck of a lot, and they were efficient, man. The fact that they got such a great cast of characters at the wide receiver spot with JSN, Jackson-Njigba, and the young dude, my dude, Torrey Horton. Y'all know all off season long I was talking up a Torrey Horton saying there was no reason why this man should have fallen in the draft, only due to that hamstring injury. This guy's a 2-time 1,100-yard receiver in college football with Colorado State. Now he's showcasing the fact of what he is. He was definitely a top 50 player for me. Fell into the 5th round, only due in part to that lost season in 2024 due to, I believe it was a hamstring injury. So for me right now, Sam Darnold is looking good. 39 points taken on the Arizona Cardinals. Even though the Cardinals defense is pretty good, I do like what this offense could potentially be in Seattle, and Sam Darnold will continue to give us good, valuable points on matchup or stream play. Matthew Stafford, 30% ownership right now, almost 50 points, has a good matchup versus Indianapolis Colts this week. I do like it, man. The way that they played those Philadelphia Eagles against that tough defense, they look good, man. They threw the game away based on mistakes and lack of execution and allowed those Eagles to come back into that game. And then obviously special teams. Week 3 was drunk, man. We saw how many pick sixes, how many block kicks and punts, and oh man, it was just drunk all over the place. We're going to see a little bit level off in week 4, I do believe, but Matthew Stafford with a good upside play this week for all y'all streamers. Marcus Mariota potentially starting again this week. Heard the coach talk about, JD and the knee injury. They were absolutely impressed with how Mariota played, so this might give them at least a little bit of a heads up to say, we can still play a Marcus Mariota. He won the contest. He looked good and efficient, so we can let our star quarterback, heal up on that knee. So Mariota is a good play this week. 20 points last week for Mariota. Definitely very good point totals. Geno Smith. As many interceptions as this man threw this past week and how many turnovers they had, he still put up a decent amount of points for us, man. Definitely a streaming option as they will air it out in Las Vegas with those Raiders. Geno's a good play for streaming quarterbacks as well. Aaron Rodgers, a little bit lesser down the board, 2 back-to-back games of subpar showings, but at least still giving us a decent floor. If you're looking for the safety net and safety blanket, Aaron Rodgers, 37% ownership right now, 50 points on the season. Tyrod Taylor, okay, if Justin Fields still misses this contest, he did admirably, man. With 26 points so far on the season, he looked okay, man. At least he was able to force feed to Garrett Wilson. The veteran leader. That deep ball is still there for Tyrod as well, so you could do much worse than Tyrod, as he is gonna at least have the upper hand when it still comes to deep shots and running the football from the quarterback spot. So at least he'll get his points that way as well. And Bryce Young showed us not enough in point totals, but at least they are on the rise. Desperation mode for Bryce Young. You got to start force feeding to Ted McMillan to get it that much better. But this Carolina Panthers team is definitely moving in the right direction. 30 points against the Falcons. Definitely nothing to sneeze at. Wide receiver time. Torrey Horton, like I'm saying, my dude. Man, oh man, kick return, beautiful catch. He just doesn't get enough targets to be 110% fantasy relevant at this point. Could he eventually, supplant somebody like a Cooper Kupp and be the number 2 option on this offense from Sam Darnold? Potentially. And I think the upside is absolutely here. You're picking him up off waiver wires now because of that upside. Is it going to happen week in, week out that he's going to get kick returns and, catch 1 pass for 1 touchdown? No, but at least he is growing in the right direction. And if this guy continues to make plays, Seattle's going to continue to force feed this man. Playing with somebody like JSN, Horton is getting no coverage to his directions, even with Cooper Kupp pulling coverage from his side. Horton's definitely my top priority wide receiver because the potential is off the chain. Trey Tucker, okay, what the issue I have with him right now, he had a wide receiver 1 numbers this past week, over 30 points, just crazy as he was catching everything that come his way. But the problem with Trey Tucker is that he's not necessarily the most reliable when it comes to consistency. He's going to pop off like this, and then he's going to disappear for 2 games, 3 games, whatever it is. You got to get him at least. He's showcasing the fact that he can at least make a lot of plays. Keep him consistent in this offense. Keep force-feeding him the football. He still is a priority for me just because anybody puts up 36 points, you definitely caught my eye, and I got to get him on our bench at least for this point and hope it continues with some good levels of consistency. Luther Burden, rookie. This guy was another one of my dudes. Absolutely love his game. Finally, these Bears and Caleb Williams looked good last week. Yes, it is against the Dallas Cowboys stinking defense. Absolutely terrible. Burden is one of these dudes that could make a DJ Moore expendable in Chicago. No joke. There was trade rumors for a DJ Moore potentially going somewhere else. I would not be surprised because you got guys like Rome Odunze and Luther Burden. It is a very much a redundancy when it comes to the position where Burden is basically like a DJ Moore, but I think Burden could be even better if he continues to mature in his game. Burden definitely is one of these guys. Might be a little early, but like I said, it's always better to be too early than too late on some of these guys. Burden's definitely a top priority for me. Jalen Tolbert with news of a CeeDee Lamb not going to injured reserve, which was interesting. They say he's got a high ankle sprain. Usually that's around 3 to 4 weeks of an injury layoff, and they're not putting him on injured reserve. So they're hoping that he could come back potentially in 2 weeks. That's a little bit of a stretch for me. So it is going to be George Pickens, it is going to be Jalen Tolbert, and it is going to be Turpin who are going to have to pick up the slack in this offense. I've always been a Tolbert fan, just doesn't get enough targets in his direction. Hopefully now, without a CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens taking the top coverage away, maybe we'll see Tolbert get some heavy targets. Calvin Austin, like I said with this man, hits, disappears, hits, disappears, 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 hits. This is what you're going to get, man. The good and the bad, the ebbs and flows with this cat as well. At least, I mean, with the fact that it's DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, and Jalen Warren, that's kind of your Pittsburgh Steelers offense at this point. And at least at this point, with a matchup upside play for this wide receiver, you could do, you could do better than Austin. But I mean, Austin is still one of these guys. At this point, I'm going to bite and say we can get him on our bench at least, and then look up for those great matchup plays. Whoever does not take the deep shot, we can play Austin. Cedric Tillman for these Cleveland Brownies. At this point, it's so tough to trust. He's getting you a good floor. 8 points is basically his floor week in, week out, but the TD upside is why we would pick a Tillman and continue to utilize him. Jerry Jeudy's a non-factor. They're starting to use Isaiah Bond. They're mix and matching with Njoku and Harold Fannin. Only Fannin, that's a new nickname. My boy made that one up, but only Fannins, I guess. But I mean, Tillman, he's one of the guys that at wide receiver that I'm definitely going to be looking for this week if I am hurting at wide receiver. Rashad Bateman coming off a good Monday Night Football contest. These Baltimore Ravens, they do lose to those Detroit Lions, but at least it was nice to see Bateman back in the mix. He's, again, one of these guys, hit and miss, so many mouths to feed. Mark Andrews back in the mix as well. So pick your poison. You can leave him on the watch list at this point, but Bateman, at least with the point totals, we know he can continue to pile up. And Alec Aomaner for these Tennessee Titans. I don't know what the hell's going on with Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley. They just can't get on the same page, but Aomaner seems to be the one. He is gravitating toward at this point. Right now, 49% ownership rate. We can definitely pick him up, and I'm not comfortable yet starting him, but at least the point totals are there that we can justify it in our flex if we need it, or wide receiver 3 options. Aomaner is definitely one of these guys we got to get on our bench at this point. DeAndre Hopkins coming off a subpar showing. Again, it's going to be TD upside all day for a D-Hop, but again, if he does not get those targets, it's going to be a stinker. So many mouths to feed, and the scheme definitely dictates terms in Baltimore. So D-Hop right now, it's going to be one of these guys picked up and dropped on the waiver wire basically every single week at this point. Thornton for these Kansas City Chiefs, taking on the Xavier Worthy role at this point. He's doing good. He's putting up some point totals for us, but rumor has it Worthy could have played this week as well. He might be back next week, which will decrease a Thornton's role in at least target share opportunities. He will likely get the deep shots, and then they'll utilize Xavier Worthy over the middle a little bit more, and that's kind of what I wanted to see. So having 2 deep threat options with a third in a Hollywood Brown, but Hollywood's kind of doing the, over the middle stuff as well, short intermediate passes. Thornton's one of these guys with a Worthy back. His value is going to drop down the board. Hunter Renfrow coming off a big contest, and like I said, the Panthers put up 30 spot, and Hunter Renfrow basically was a non-factor. I don't like it. We want more consistency. So again, for me, watch list, matchup play off the waiver. If you are hurting at wide receiver, he's definitely one to continue to watch. And a Sterling Shepard, now that Big Mike Evans has gone down with that hamstring injury. Again, this could be a multi-week injury. IR could be potentially looming for a Mike Evans. Chris Godwin hopefully will come back. If he does, does not. Sterling Shepard would slot into a wide receiver 2 role with an Emeka Egbuka, my dude. But Shepard would have some upside with Baker Mayfield if it is him as the wide receiver 2. Tight ends, finish this thing off, man. Hunter Henry, he is the tight end 1 in fantasy football right now because Drake May knows how to feed the tight end spot. 35 points, only 40% owned. Again, you're going to see those ups and downs, but at least with Hunter Henry, the consistency is there. The red zone appeal is there. The touchdown upside is always there with Hunter Henry. You're going to get the games where he gets you 4 points, and then hopefully you get the games like he did this past week where he finds an end zone trip. So this is what we need from Hunter Henry. He is the top priority tight end this week. Gadsden for these Los Angeles Chargers with a Will Disley dealing with injury. I'm shocked that they didn't go to a Ty Conklin, but Gadsden is loaded with ability. He is a wide receiver in a tight end's body, and he can play ball, man. Herbert already was targeting him quite a bit in that pass showing versus those Denver Broncos, and I think that he could continue to be the guy that they're looking for. They're looking for an athletic, big, talented, tall tight end to take this role and give them even more opportunities and upside on this offense with a Justin Herbert. Gadsden's definitely one to watch at this point, man, and I think a worthy of a pickup potential play in week number 4. Brenton Strange, this Jacksonville Jaguars offense, man, it is so bad. I don't know what to make of it at this point. You got Brian Thomas Jr. just standing there making coffee. You're not even using Travis Hunter, and then you get sprinkles of it, Brenton Strange. I mean, is this Trevor Lawrence or is this the coaching staff? At this point, we don't know. Brenton Strange at least gave you, 9 points this past week? He's back on the radar for streaming tight ends, no question. Cade Otton, he comes back on my list as well now that Mike Evans has gone down. We've seen this story before in the past. Whenever one of their wide receivers goes down and they have to lean upon one, Cade Otton is the guy, man. All reliable comes back into play, and Cade Otton could be a big-time sleeper stream this week at tight end, and he could put up a lot of points if Mike Evans likely is out and a Chris Godwin sits. Man, Cade Otton, I'm firing him up everywhere, and this is already only Tuesday, and I'm calling that shot, man. So we'll see what happens with Chris Godwin on that injury report, but if Godwin does not play, man, Cade Otton could have a big-time expanded role in this offense. Tunges for the San Francisco 49ers. Again, man, definitely reliable with Mac Money Jones. It was a bad game overall with the 49ers and the Cardinals. Very limited offensive power and punch from both sides, but at least Tunges is making up for what George Kittle left us, and we could utilize Tunges in multiple leagues, no question in my mind. As long as they continue to progress, if a Brock Purdy does come back, I think this only uplifts the tight end spot in San Francisco because they utilize them that much. Isaiah likely coming back, pun intended, for week number 4. We'll see. I mean, with now them reintegrating a Mark Andrews back into the offensive punch, we'll see what kind of role he likely does have, but he's far too talented to be on the waiver wire. Pick him up, stash him, but I'm not usually one. Deep leagues only, deep benches only for me until they confirm that he is back on the field. Then we can go pick him up and hope for the best. And last one on the watch list is a Mason Taylor. Got some catches this past week. If they get this guy going, I'm telling y'all, watch out and see what this kid's going to do. I'm a huge Mason Taylor fan. I have never seen a tight end run with so much fluidity. He's that damn good. I'm a big fan. But there you have it. That is week number 4. Waiver wire must add players. We're in the crunch already because a lot of players are going down. We got to revamp our depth and keep our rosters going so we can continue to get those dubs. But nevertheless, as always, don't forget that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.